Hi there. I noticed a number of people have been putting their DVD collections on YouTube, talking about them. I said, you know, I can do that. I can do the same thing. I have some DVDs that folks might be interested in seeing and knowing a little bit about. So I'm going to do this with a couple of DVDs I have here today. And I know some of you are saying, oh, why are you collecting DVDs, man? It's streaming now. Just stream something. Streaming services, it's good on the one hand, but it's nothing like saying I can look at this movie whenever I want to. Streaming services, you're at the mercy of that particular streaming service. There are issues many times with buffering. I'm not going to give you any names of streaming services, Netflix, but the thing is, when you have your own physical DVD, you can watch it whenever you want to. And I'm going to just show you some of the ones I have. I have a ton of them in this closet here, but I'm going to show you a few. And I have a number of Criterion Collection DVDs you might be interested in getting a hold of. And the one thing about these DVDs I'm going to show you, you won't see them on Criterion. I'm sorry, you won't see them on any streaming services, very rarely. And it's hard to get these. And these, I have to say, these are DVDs. I don't have Blu-ray because some of these are hard to get on Blu-ray. So I just have the standard DVDs. And Criterion, if you don't know about the Criterion Collection, basically you get on there like a pristine copy of a film, commentaries, booklets, pictures, a little bit of everything. And I'm going to start off with this one here. This is the portrait of the artist. This is the 5 DVD collection of Paul Robeson, and it was done by Criterion many years ago. And I'm so happy to have this. It's one of my favorite collections to have. Obviously, my favorite because I'm showing it now. But what it has in here is that you get, like I was mentioning, you get a booklet that talks about Paul Robeson. If you don't know anything about Paul Robeson, the activist, actor, singer, he did everything. This amazing fellow in not only in U.S. history but world history. And you look in here, you got the booklet and all. You have his films here, not all his films, but the majority of them, including his first film, which is Body and Soul, directed by Oscar Micheaux. Oscar Micheaux is the father of black filmmaking, and this has Body and Soul in it. And it's just just to see, it's a silent film. I know some of you are like, I don't want to see anything silent, but just as a historical, just thing to have, it's just amazing, just the history of it. Also on here, you get the Emperor Jones, the classic, the originally, that was written by Eugene O'Neill, and classic film, and I have looked at all of them except for one film that's on here. I finally looked at it. I've had this DVD collection for 7 years until I decided I'm gonna look at this one, and that is on this one here. This is Sanders of the River. Sanders of the River is probably one of the most racist, insulting films ever made. And Robeson got so mad when he went to the world premiere of the film that he walked out because he was tricked. He filmed parts of this thing, and behind his back, they put other things in there to make it look like he was supporting the British Empire, colonialism, because this was made in the early 30s. And he got really mad, but it's a fascinating film to see him in it, but his name in it is Bo Sambo, so that'll let you know a lot about it. But anyway, this collection, and these are the DVDs here, superb historical document. You have a documentary on here produced by Sidney Poitier. He's also on here as a narrator. Fascinating. So please pick that up. Again, you won't find it on any streaming service. Another one I would recommend highly, Criterion. This is the Battle of Algiers, and this is based on what happened in Africa, Northern Africa, the liberation study struggle of the Algerian people in the late 50s, early 60s against colonialism by the French. And this movie was made in 1967. But fascinating because it talks about genocide, how people have to struggle day to day against colonialism, what they have to go through. These folks, either Algerians had to go through like barriers and all, had to carry like pass books to go places that sound familiar to what's going on in some countries right now. But this is a fascinating movie. And a lot of the folks in the movie, they have some French actors in there, but they also have folks who went through the struggle in the late 50s and 60s. Actual activists, folks who, people who had been in prison because they were fighting for their rights in Algeria. And this is the booklet that tells you about the history of the Algerian struggle. This movie has a commentary, gives you more history about what happened in Northern Africa at that time. It talks about colonialism, the roots of it and all. Fascinating. Fascinating if you're into just getting history and just learning some more. Battle Algiers, classic. Classic film. Also, I have one too. This one here. Hollywood film directed by Billy Wilder. This was in 1951. And this is Ace in the Hole, stars Kirk Douglas. Now, this one you're saying, oh, it's a Hollywood film, it's Criterion again. But it's all about the evils of mass media. What happens when someone gets a hold of a story and milks it, even though they don't care what happens to the people and folks die, because they want to scoop. They want to scoop and they make up news stories. They make up fake news. That sound familiar? But this talks about that. And it's a movie that it's a film noir in one sense, but in other sense, it is just it's a horror movie in a sense too, but it's just tragic what happens to the people involved in this. And it's the filmmaking is just superb. It's just amazing. And again, you get documentary on here besides the film itself. You get because it's based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's about it, and Kirk Douglas plays a news reporter, out of work news reporter, trying to get a scoop. So the booklet itself, is basically a newspaper. So you get to see a newspaper talking about the film and all that, how it was made. Fascinating, just amazing. And like with all these films, Criterion cinematography is amazing, amazing. It's black and white, but amazing, just amazing film. And let me get a color one here. And this one, it's not actually Criterion, but it's gorgeous. And I'm talking about Black Orpheus, made in Brazil, 1960. And if you know anything about Orpheus, the whole story of that's what this is about. And just just a probably the prettiest as far as just a movie itself you'll ever see. The colors and all, and again, has a booklet in here. Just one DVD, but it has commentary. And it's not Criterion. It's not Criterion. But it's just a fascinating study of what was going on during Carnival in 1960 in Brazil, basing it on the story of Orpheus. And for you folks who live in Denver, and I have a lot of folks who follow me in Denver because I lived there for over 20 years, the star of this movie is I'm probably going to brutalize her name, but Mariposa Dawn. And she went to East High School in Denver. Great actress, did this movie in Brazil. Fascinating movie. Check it out. It's Black Orpheus. And again, you won't see that on any streaming service. Another film I have, because I have fun things too. Jackie Chan on Criterion. This is a Police Story 1 and 2. Police Story 1, he does, I think, the most incredible stunt I've ever seen in a movie. No CGI. He does himself, no stuntmen, no wires. It's amazing. But he plays this cop who's trying to break this case, and it's just, I'm not going to give away the plot, but Police Story 1, and Police Story 2 is excellent, but Police Story 1, man, that thing, just to see, it's worth it to buy this just to see the stunt he does. It's just incredible. The greatest stunt I've ever seen in a movie. Again, and you get three DVDs, commentary, shows how he does some of the stunts, and not only in this movie but his other movies. Get a little, if you're into Jackie Chan, and I am, Jackie Chan poster, and then you get on the other side just a history of how he made the movie. What the director did, the cast, and all. Just a fun movie to check out. And I would recommend it highly. Also, movie here. This one, not Criterion, hard to get a hold of. Al-Him, Martin Luther King in Palestine. This was made in 2013, and it's about a group of students, gospel choir, actors, African Americans, all of them, who go, and they're led by Clayton. I want to make sure I get his name right. Clayton Carson. And Clayton Carson, I'm gonna pull this out. I'm doing films, but I might as well pull this out. He's the editor of the Martin Luther King Encyclopedia, and he's at Stanford. I think he's still there now, but he's done some amazing work about King, his letters and everything. But this is about movies and all. But this is a documentary. These students, actors, along with Carson, they go to Palestine and they have a play. They do a play about Dr. King meeting Malcolm X. And they talk about the situation in Palestine in the play. Amazing. This is hard, and what's going on right now in Palestine and with Israel, what's going on for Israel right now. This is timely. If you can find it, I have to say, if you can find it, and I say that because it was hard for me to get this, even though I interviewed the director, Connie Field. It's a hard film DVD to get a hold of, but you'll never see this on any streaming service. Let me give you a couple of more here. This one, straight in another, we're going back to Criterion. This one, Playtime, French film by Jacques Tati, made in 1967. It bombed when it first came out, but it's just the cinematography on here is just amazing. It's a comedy, but it's not something you're going to sit around like guffaw and like fall over the place. It's worth getting because it's just, a lot of filmmakers have based their style of film on this particular movie, Playtime. And Tatis, he basically created a city in Paris with this, for this film. And he put all his money in it, and the thing bombed. At the time, no one went and saw it. They said it was like an awful movie, but years later, people realized it's a classic. And again, you get a booklet, you get a commentary, documentary of the film. The colors in here. I was talking about Black Orpheus being just beautiful. I would put this, it's not equal to Orpheus, but it's close to it. It's close to it. Playtime. And you won't see, again, streaming service. Nah, you're not going to see this on there. And give you a couple more here for fun. This one. Not Criterion, but the Boondocks. The whole 4 seasons of the Boondocks. And I know you can see this on some streaming services, but what you won't get is the unedited versions of the Boondocks. And Boondocks, if you don't know, was originally a cartoon in newspapers created by Aaron Magruder. The social commentary on this is amazing. And keep in mind, this was made in the 90s. And it's still relevant because he's talking about folks like P. Diddy in here, R. Kelly, and you see what happens to them, what's happening to them now. And he was like a prophet talking about them way back when in the late 90s. So Boondocks, I just love this. It's just hilarious. It's all four seasons. You got commentary, you got unedited film in here, things you won't see at all on any streaming service. So check that out. Check it out if you can get it. And also, I think I'll give you one more. This one, very serious movie, documentary about the history of what happened in Indonesia in 1965. And it's a hard film to look at. It's the act of killing. And I can't say, I'm not going to say a lot about this. I don't want to get censored or anything, but just check it out. Filmmaking is just amazing. It talks about what happened in that country in Indonesia in 1965 and the U.S.'s role in what happened there. Amazing film. Check it out. It's brutal. I warn you, it's brutal. It's really brutal. What they talk about. It's not so much they showing the killings, it's how they're talking about it. And how some of the folks who are still around now are talking about what they did. And they reenact their killings basing it on MGM musicals. And that's a story in itself. That's worth looking at in itself. But it's amazing, amazing documentary. I'll give you one more that's a little happier. I know some people saying, well, these are older films, but I do get new things. I do get new ones, and I love this. This is sorry to bother you. You won't see this on any streaming service. A funny film has a serious overtone about organizing and unionism, but it's just a funny comedy. It's just really funny. The Keith Stanfield and Tisha Thompson are the stars of this. Just funny film. Check it out. And one that's because I don't want people to think I only get old stuff. And this is new. This is Blink Twice, and that's all I'm gonna say. Blink Twice. It had it's just a film that it's talking about what's going on right now. Because I mentioned well, I'll just say it's kind of not about him, but if you know anything about Jeffrey Epstein and what happened with him, this movie is about that. So that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, these are just some of the many films. I could go in this whole closet and pull out all sorts of stuff, but I won't. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that give you an idea of some films you might want to consider. But I love collecting DVDs. A streaming service that has its place, but having something physical with you is always great. So you can always go to it and say, hey, I want to look at. Sorry to bother you today. I don't want to wait to what the streaming service, if they'll put it on there. I don't want to do that. I want to look at it now. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hope it helped you. I'm going to do this from time to time. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. But this is Greg Rashid talking to you from Bangkok, Thailand. You take care. Talk to you later.